We're in two different jurisdictions today, Peru and Jamaica, and I know what you're thinking. Jamaica, really? Because that's what I thought when the company first approached me, but I see tremendous opportunity here after undergoing due diligence.
Canadian companies strike gold and copper in Jamaica. Imagine waking up to the news that Jamaica may actually be sitting on world-class deposits of gold, copper, and even silver. For decades, we've known our land is rich, but now the ground beneath our feet is telling a different story, one that could change Jamaica's place in the global economy forever. Two Canadian companies, C3 Metals and Barrick Gold, are leading this charge. Their exploration teams are combing through Clarendon, St. Catherine, and other parts of the island, and what they've found so far is turning heads in the global mining industry. Drill cores, rock samples, and soil studies are revealing copper and gold grades that rival deposits in South America and Africa. This isn't just about mining, it's about Jamaica's future. If these discoveries lead to major mines, the impact could be massive. We're talking jobs, foreign exchange earnings, and a potential new export industry. But as history has shown with bauxite, it could also raise hard questions about ownership, environmental protection, and whether Jamaicans will truly benefit from this new mineral rush. So in this video, we're diving deep into what exactly these Canadian companies have found, why they're so excited about Jamaica, and what it could mean for us as a nation.
This week, we released some very exciting results of strong copper geochemistry at our Bellas Gate project in Jamaica. You may remember that our Bellas Gate project is currently under an option agreement where a subsidiary of Freeport-McMoRan, the largest copper producer in the world, is earning into the project up to 75% by funding up to $75 million US in exploration and related expenditures. The results that we announced this week from the program are in the Northwest project area over a red bed copper target. So at Bellas Gate, actually the primary targets are porphyry, copper gold porphyries. But in the Northwest project area, we've found through mapping and sampling a red bed copper target. The red bed copper deposits make up the second most copper production globally after porphyry deposits. And what is particularly exciting about this is the results. We tried to do trenching in this area previously, and we were having trouble getting through soil. So what we did is we set up 9 soil lines over a 3-kilometer area. And along each line, very systematically, we took soil samples and dug soil pits every 5 meters along the line to get an idea of the width and the consistency of the copper mineralization in this area. And quite frankly, we were blown away with the results. We have a 120 meter wide zone averaging 0.12% copper in soils. So that's like 1,200 ppm. Why that's exciting for us is anything over 300 ppm copper in soils parts per million, that is strongly worthy of follow-up exploration. So 120 meter zone of 0.12% in soil, another 90 meter zone of 0.13% in soil, a 50 meter zone of 0.16%, and a 205 meter zone that was averaging over 450 ppm copper. So when you put that all together, we've now outlined a 2.7 kilometer zone trending east-west. It's still open in both directions. It is as narrow as 20 meters and as wide as 205 meters with thresholds all above 400 ppm copper.
C3 Metals and their discoveries. The first company making waves is C3 Metals Incorporated, a Canadian junior exploration firm that has quietly been building a strong footprint in Jamaica. C3 controls nearly 18,000 hectares of mineral rights, plus another 10,000 hectares through a joint venture with Geophysx Jamaica. That's a massive area stretching across multiple parishes, where they've already mapped dozens of promising prospects. At their Bellas Gate project in St. Catherine, C3 struck one of its biggest hits in 2023, 390.7 meters of copper and gold mineralization, with grades that included 0.37% copper and 0.19 grams of gold per ton. While those numbers may sound small, geologists know that consistency across hundreds of meters is the hallmark of a large porphyry system, the kind of deposit that can sustain a mine for decades. Over at Connors, drilling results were just as exciting. In 2024, The company announced a 79-meter zone containing 0.71% copper and 0.49 grams per ton gold, including a sweet spot of 46 meters running at nearly 1% copper and 0.7 grams per ton gold. For context, global porphyry mines often operate profitably at much lower grades, meaning these results are strong enough to attract serious attention. And then came the bombshell at Arthur's Seat in Clarendon. Surface sampling in 2025 revealed jaw-dropping numbers: 13.8% copper and nearly 500 grams per ton silver in some rock samples. 11 different samples showed more than 4% copper, a figure considered high-grade anywhere in the world. These are not ordinary numbers. They suggest that Jamaica may have much richer zones than anyone previously thought possible. Finally, at Provost, assays revealed gold and copper close to the surface, at depths of only 150 meters. This pattern is typical of porphyry deposits, where copper and gold occur together in large, continuous zones. If proven, it could place Jamaica firmly on the global map for copper-gold systems, a class of deposits that major mining companies are constantly searching for. Barrick Gold joins the hunt. If C3 Metals is the pioneer, then Barrick Gold is the heavyweight stepping into the ring. Barrick is one of the largest gold producers on Earth, with mines in North America, South America, Africa, and Asia. When a company of Barrick's size and reputation takes an interest in Jamaica, it signals something much bigger than just exploration. It means they see real potential for world-class discoveries. In 2025, Barrick announced a partnership with Geophysx Jamaica, a local exploration company, to comb through a massive 4,000 square kilometer land package. This is one of the largest exploration efforts in Jamaican history. Their strategy is simple but powerful. Use modern geophysical surveys, mapping, and soil sampling to identify drill-ready sites by the end of this year. Why does this matter? Because Barrick doesn't waste time on small projects. Their business model depends on finding deposits that can produce millions of ounces of gold or billions of pounds of copper over decades. If they're here, it means the data is pointing towards something much bigger than a small mine. Their entry also creates a fascinating dynamic. On one side, you have C3 Metals, a junior company with proven exploration success, but limited funding. On the other, you have Barrick, a giant with the financial power and technical expertise to develop large-scale mines. If both succeed, Jamaica could see multiple mining operations spring up within the next decade. And if Barrick finds what they're looking for, Jamaica could be placed in the same conversation as Chile or Peru when it comes to copper exploration.
I think the quickest rundown is that for the last 5 or 6 years, we've started an exploration campaign across the whole island of Jamaica. And we did about 40,000 assays as we went across and put down licenses over anything that looked very interesting. We have primarily come up with copper and gold targets in the island. We have a joint venture with C3 that was just announced. We have had a lot of interest from the majors for the copper and gold that we're working on in the rest of the island, and we may have some news shortly on that.
The potential for Jamaica's economy. For Jamaica, these discoveries couldn't come at a more critical time. The island has long relied on tourism and bauxite, but both industries face challenges. Tourism is vulnerable to global recessions and pandemics, while bauxite has been declining due to international competition and environmental concerns. Mining for gold and copper could open a third pillar of the economy. Copper, in particular, is one of the most in-demand metals in the world right now. With the global push toward renewable energy, electric vehicles, and grid expansion, copper is essential. A single electric car uses nearly 4 times as much copper as a regular vehicle, and solar panels and wind turbines also rely heavily on the metal. This means global demand is rising, and Jamaica could be in a position to benefit. Gold, meanwhile, has always been a safe haven asset. In uncertain times, investors flock to gold, pushing its price higher. If Jamaica can establish itself as a gold producer, it would provide a steady flow of foreign exchange to the economy. Even small gold mines can generate hundreds of millions of dollars annually if managed correctly. But this isn't just about numbers on paper. Mining operations mean jobs. both directly in exploration and extraction, and indirectly in transport, services, and local supply chains. Communities in Clarendon and St. Catherine could see new employment opportunities if mines are developed. However, the key question remains, will these jobs and benefits stay in Jamaica, or will the majority of profits flow overseas? Risks and concerns. As exciting as this all sounds, Jamaica must tread carefully. History has shown us what can happen when resource wealth is not managed properly. The bauxite industry promised prosperity decades ago, but today, the scars of abandoned pits remain, and many Jamaicans feel the benefits never match the hype. Could copper and gold repeat that story? There are environmental risks too. Mining, especially large-scale open-pit operations, can devastate ecosystems if not carefully controlled. Rivers, forests, and farming communities could all be affected. For a country that relies heavily on agriculture and tourism, protecting the environment is just as important as unlocking mineral wealth. Then there's the issue of royalties and ownership. If Jamaica simply signs away its resources to foreign companies for small royalties, we may end up with little more than a few short-term jobs. To truly benefit, the government will need to negotiate tough contracts, ensure local participation, and demand that companies invest in communities as well as mines. Finally, there's the geopolitical angle. With Canadian companies leading the charge, other nations may soon take notice. China, for instance, is aggressively pursuing copper and gold projects worldwide. Could Jamaica become a new battleground for resource competition between global powers? It's a possibility worth watching. So here's the question Jamaica faces today. Are we standing on the brink of a mineral revolution, or are we walking into another story of exploitation and missed opportunities? The discoveries by C3 metals and the arrival of Barrick Gold are undeniably historic. But history teaches us that natural resources can be both a blessing and a curse. If managed well, Jamaica could see new industries, thousands of jobs, and a stronger economy built around one of the world's most valuable metals. But if mismanaged, we risk repeating the mistakes of the past, where foreign companies walk away rich, and Jamaicans are left with damaged land and broken promises. One thing is certain, the world is now watching Jamaica. Beneath our hills and valleys lies copper, gold, and silver, metals that could power the clean energy future and secure Jamaica's economic independence. But whether this becomes a national triumph or a national tragedy depends on the choices we make today. So, is Jamaica ready for a new golden era, or will history repeat itself? The answer is waiting underground.